Raymont Anderson is with us. You can read all about him in your bulletin. Well, not all about him. You can read a little bit about him in your bulletin. He's just such a bright light with gifts upon gifts, skills, talents. And the last time I saw Raymont before today was at the Eastern Region Unity Conference last fall in New Jersey. And most of you already know how dear our Bishop Spong, John Joey Spong, is to us. Well, he was the keynote speaker there. And one of the many gifts Raymont has is American Sign Language. Okay, so this is really cool. And what was really cool, but you know, it's really hard to upstage Bishop Spong. But Bishop Spong ended up just marveling and watching Raymont. And so as he was watching Raymont was talking about Bishop Spong watching Raymont, and he was signing about that like he is right now. And so please welcome Reverend Dr. Raymont Anderson.
Thank you very much. So it was Sunday morning, and the alarm clock went off as it always does. And William Jr. did what William Jr. did every Sunday. Turn the alarm clock off, roll back over, put his head under the covers, and attempt to go back to sleep. But his mother, with the patience of Job, did what she does every Sunday morning, already at his bedroom door. Young man, get up. It's time to get ready for church. I'm not going. What do you mean you're not going? Why are you not going to church this week? I've got 3 reasons why I'm not going to church this week. Okay, mister, I've got 3 reasons why you're not going to church this week. What are they this week? The choir won't let me sing with them. Have you heard your voice? The kids at church don't like me. You don't share crayons very well, do you? And after service, there are never any jelly donuts left. And you could use another donut. Why? Okay, you know what? Never mind. Doesn't even matter. Because I've got 2 reasons why you are going to church. 1, you're 40 years old. 2, you're the pastor. How many times in our lives do we feel Spirit calling us to wake up? And we want to stay comfortable and roll back over, especially on a nice cold spring morning, and be warm. Now, I know I'm not talking about any of you, because I know you got up and you made yourself ready to be here. But just in general, when things happen, I've got a question for you. And this is the former public school teacher in me coming out, so this is an audience participation piece. How many of you, at some point in your life, either now or previously, have ever felt something's not right? I feel guilt, I feel shame, I feel fear, I feel I'm not good enough, I'm too tall, I'm too short, I'm too thick, I'm too thin, I'm too just something. Raise your hand. Oh, wow. Looks pretty unanimous to me. Now, because of my background, and I'm going to put this disclaimer out there now, forgive me, because my intention is not my intention to step on toes or to push buttons. However, sometimes that happens. Because of my particular experience, in 2012 I weighed 293 pounds. Why? Now, did the sign come on and tell you how to sign? Like, where did it? So, I went from being martial arts to weighing almost 300 pounds. How? Because of the same thing that you just raised your hand for. Guilt, shame, anger, resentment, stuff. And I stayed in bed where it was comfortable. Rather than waking up when Spirit called, I stayed where I was comfortable. And what was comfortable? A box of Krispy Kreme donuts was comfortable. Just being honest. 2, 3 boxes of Pop-Tarts was comfortable. Did you just say ooh? There will be a sign when it's time to audience participate. But that's fine, because for me now, they are ooh. But then, oh man, trust and believe. Now, I love Charles, but if Charles had a box of Krispy Kreme donuts right now, we would fight. Unless he was willing to share. I lost my way. Sort of like Dorothy minus the red shoes, but I lost my way. I'm wandering around trying to figure out how. So I go to the doctor, and my doctor, who does not believe in medicine, doesn't like writing prescriptions. She believes in the holistic thing. She says, Ray, your blood pressure is so high and your cholesterol is so high, I'm afraid that if I let you walk out of this office right now, you will never come back because you'll be dead. I saw the look in her eyes, and I knew this woman meant what she said. She was scared for me. That scared me. And she said, so I know you do martial arts, and I know you got your spiritual practice, and I know you do your stuff. I'm going to give you 6 months to do something and show me that I don't have to grab my script pad and write you some 6 months. So I said, I got you. And I walked out. Now, keep in mind, today's talk title is What's Love Got to Do With It? So always be playing that in the back of your mind as I say anything that I say. Back to our regularly scheduled program. So I left their office and I went home and I had what my fundamental Christian days would have called a come to Jesus moment. And I sat down and I said, dude, you got prayer beads and you got an altar and you got books by Charles and Myrtle and Ernest Holmes and you got, what are you doing? And I had to get real still and real quiet and start looking at stuff and realize that a lot of my past baggage had come back. And I didn't want to see it. Now, when I say past baggage, you may be wondering what am I referring to, other than the fact that I almost weighed 300 pounds. I was raised in a household that was very abusive. Everyone in my family either does drugs, did drugs, makes drugs, sold drugs, took pictures of drugs and smoked the pictures of drugs, or sold the pictures of drugs. Everybody in my immediate family. Physical abuse. I've been hit with a banister post, an extension cord, blah, blah, blah. Because I don't want to go into that, but I want you to understand that the me now is not that me. However, that 2012 period of time, I relapsed. Now, what's love got to do with it? We think that God is loving, and God isn't. Now, I know you may be thinking, get the hook and pull him off stage. God is not loving. God is love itself. Because if someone can be loving, they can also be unloving, and it is not possible for God to not be what it is. If I had a red marker, and I start writing with the red marker, I start writing people's names, what color will the names be if it's a red marker? Is the red marker being red, or is it expressing red, or is it just being what it is, and that's what's flowing from it? No matter what I draw, what I write, blue is never going to come out of it. And I know you've heard the saying that no matter how you squeeze an orange, apple juice is never going to come out of it. It's the same thing referencing God. God cannot be anything but love itself. We are the expression of it. So we are the expression that is loving when we choose to be. But we can't do that if we don't love we. If I really don't like me, I really don't love myself, then how in the world do I, in all honesty, go up to someone and say, Dakota, namaste, and really mean it if I can't see God in myself? If I can't look in the mirror and see that behind this face, behind these eyes, behind my mind, there is the one mind that is God. If I can't see, acknowledge, or recognize that in myself, how do I see or recognize that in someone else? Now here, it's easy to see and acknowledge and recognize the divinity that we all are, because we're all here for that very thing. But the challenge is when you're on the subway, when you're in a taxi, when you're at the airport, when you're in rush hour, when you're standing in line, when your children won't listen, when your husband or wife won't listen, when something doesn't go your way, when the doctor says, I'm sorry, but that is the time to most connect back to the truth. Now, this knee had surgery. As I said, I do martial arts, right? So I was showing off and did some little martial artsy thing. And snapped my ACL. Yeah, you can for real. Because I heard it pop. It sounded like a rubber band. It's connected. And the moment I stepped forward, now notice, which direction does my knee bend? Forward. It is not supposed to move this way. But why did I do this and this thing went that way? Thank you. So I go to the doctor, and the doctor says the exact same thing that a previous doctor said about this finger. Now, you may notice, those who are close up, that there's a slight curve. This finger had a tumor in it. And the doctor told me, Ray, I'm sorry, but once we remove the tumor, there's a tendon in there that once we remove it, you're never going to be, this is going to be the motion. That's your range of motion, that's it. And I said, I greatly appreciate, however, I do martial arts, I need to be able to make a fist, not to hit people, but part of my practice, and I need to be able to make an A, because I do American Sign Language, and in essence, I need my finger to close. And he laughed and said, I'm sorry, but no. So I said, do you read comic books? Because I do, I'm a comic book nerd. And he said, well, I don't, but my children do. I said, are you familiar with the X-Men? Yeah. You know Wolverine? Yeah. I heal like Wolverine. Deuces, I'm out. And I went home and I said, look, you listen to me. You need to bend. I'm sorry, but I can't. No, listen. No, listen. So listen, Linda, listen. So we had to have a chat. We had to have a chat. Because I needed this thing to be able to do this. Now, it took a moment, but eventually my body listened. But it was because I refused to listen to what I was told. Same thing for my knee. My range of motion was going to be this. No, I appreciate it, but no. Same concept. Now, there was a bird feeder right in the backyard, and some wind or something blew it and it fell. And a mama bird and some little birdettes were, chowing down. Don't make fun of my birdettes. I don't know what they're called. Birdies, birds, I don't know. Baby birds. Leave me alone. And they're chowing down like it's Thanksgiving dinner. And I see the neighbor's cat. And the minister in me, forgive me, it was like I was watching Netflix. I was mesmerized. And the cat's getting closer, and the birds are eating, and the cat's getting closer, and the birds are eating, the cat's getting closer, the birds are eating. And then the cat's, I see it, it's getting ready to leap. And the mama bird turns around, puffs up her chest, raises her wings, and starts barking. The cat. The mama bird turns to the little baby birds and says, now do you understand why learning a second language is important? Now why do I mention that? Why do I mention that? Because we have an option. We have an option to speak the language of lack and scarcity or speak the language of possibility and potentiality. In everything we do, there's a choice. And previous to that choosing, there has to be a belief about something, or I wouldn't choose it. You eat what you eat because you believe something about it. You come where you come to worship because you believe something about it. You wear what you wear because you believe that by wearing something particular, you're going to be, exude, demonstrate something particular. Now, clearly, we can't be mindful of every single choice, every single choice, and we can't do it, because that would be all we're doing. But every now and then, ask yourself, why am I doing this? Why am I choosing this? Now, something as minor as this, deciding. I do my best to, there's a certain thing called linguistic convenience, where we say things like try, when we know that Yoda said, do or do not, there is no try. Either you're doing it or you're not doing it, right? But there are times when we're speaking to folks, and because of our programming, or what Don Miguel Ruiz calls our domestication, we are going to say things that we know just, it's not really the truth. Making decisions or deciding is very similar. If I were to ask you, these next series of words, what do they have in common? Homicide, patricide, suicide, pesticide, and I could go on. What do they have in common? Some version of a death. To decide is the same thing. Now, you can do it affirmatively if you're consciously doing it. You can say, I am, quote unquote, killing off all of my other options. But if the language that we are speaking is the language of life, why even kill off the other options? There's no need to kill them off. Choose differently. Let those thoughts and let those whatever go about their business. Why kill them off? So I do my best to refrain from making a decision. Because even in that, choosing is more empowering. What do you choose? Because now you are saying, I could go right or I could go left. And I choose this way. Because I know it is the best thing for me. Follow what I'm saying? What's love got to do with it? So in all of this, if we are not really focused on paying attention to the level of love that we are, how do we express it? Now, we all have some version of baggage stuff. We all have it. Now, how do I know this? Well, because we're human. And part of being human is being on the hero's journey. And no matter who it was, whether it's Dorothy or Luke Skywalker, whether it's those kids in Narnia, I told you, nerd. Regardless of who it is, Scandal, I don't know the people on Scandal, but I don't know some of you out there. It's a hero's journey, nonetheless, regardless of what it is. But if I'm not consciously mindful that that's what I'm doing, then how do I make those appropriate choices to be God in expression? Now, I want you to think about this for a second. When we come to places like this, whether it's Unity or Religious Science Center or Divine Science Center, whatever it is, we are coming here for either one of two things, one of two reasons. Physical therapy or as a gym or personal training. Now, what do I mean by that? Physical therapy. Anybody here ever gone to physical therapy? Okay, so question number 2 regarding that. Is physical therapy meant to be ongoing forever, or is it meant to be short-term? Short-term. Get you back up on your feet and you get going. We, because of life, have been broken something in our past, and we seek out or we find, unless we're raised in this, we seek it out and find it because I need something in my life to change. Well, have you ever been to Unity? What is Unity? Trust me, come with me this Sunday, and we come. And once we come, we never leave. Because once you walk in the door, once you hug and agree, something changes. But many times we get comfortable with our physical therapy. And we stay and continue to speak the language of lack while in physical therapy. Now, the personal trainer is encouraging you to do more push-ups because you can. Do more jumping jacks because you can. The personal trainer is encouraging you. And every encouragement, some way, you may not be doing it where you're at right now, but as soon as you walk out of here, somebody, in some way, shape, or form, you're going back into, but I can't. But I don't like. But. There's always a but. I would if I could, but. And we go right back into our language of I can't. Our language that says God and me. Separation. We go back into that language of separation rather than the language of unity, the language of oneness. And I understand, believe me, I do. I understand it's easy to go there. But when you get finished with physical therapy, doesn't mean you don't have to, you go and you never come back. It just means your role here has changed. Physical therapy is done. I've healed, I've forgiven. Now I'm ready to step into the role of train me. Assist me in maintaining my level of fitness. Assist me in maintaining my level of health and well-being. That's the role of the personal trainer. So you're either here for physical therapy, which is fine, but at some point, you should now be in the gym to maintain. Now, there are two other things. Because once you've done this and you've maintained and you're good, then you have the option of saying, but now I want to be a physical therapist. Or I want to be a personal trainer. One of those four reasons for why you're here. And we don't often think about that degree or that level of who am I? What am I? Because it's real easy, like I said, to think, Ray, I'm Ray. It's real easy to think I'm the youngest of 6. It's real easy to think I'm the father of 5. It's real easy to think whatever. It's real easy to think that stuff as the only stuff. But the more we go into our spiritual practice and say, Yod He Vav He, I am that. I am. Beautiful? No. Beauty itself. I am that. I am. Because if that source that created me and is me in expression, the Christ consciousness in expression is beauty itself, then wouldn't I be it as well? I mean, think about it. We all have parents, right? Did anybody just instantaneously, poof, oh, yeah. Now, we share this thing called DNA with our biological folks. Whether we know them or not, we share DNA with them, correct? If this thing we call God is our spiritual father, mother, creator, source, then would we not also have the DNA of it? Yes. But the DNA of it is our divinely natural attributes. Beauty itself. Love itself. Magnificence personified. All that God is, you are. But it's real easy to, I just turned 50. Once you hit 50, what language is that? What? Pause, rewind, okay, now try it again. I'm amazing, and if God is infinite, eternal, then I don't care what number I've been on this planet, I'm infinite and eternal as well. Why would it be anything else? But But it's real easy to look in the mirror and see a new wrinkle, a new gray hair, and curse it like it's evil. Because that's mass consciousness speaking. That's our ego speaking. Because we want to stay beautiful. We want to stay handsome versus being beauty itself. Beauty itself, a wrinkle can't stop that. Beauty itself, a gray hair, oh, for those of us who gray hair can't stop that. No ache, no pain, no whatever can stop your true health and wholeness. So even when the doctor does tell you that you have X, Y, and Z, somewhere in your mind, hear them out, because some of us don't want to our doctor, but let them say what they say. But know in the back of your mind, I hear what you say. You said I have this. No, my body temple may be experiencing it, but the I that I am cannot have what you say I have. That's love in expression. That's, I love myself so much that I will not accept anything that you say to me that convinces me, that degrades me, that knocks me down into believing that I am anything less than divine. Anything less than magnificence in expression. So I don't care what mom has said. I don't care what dad has said. I don't care if they left. I don't care what a school teacher told you. I don't care what anyone in life has ever said. I don't care who's running for president. I don't care who is doing, I don't care about any of that. Because I love myself enough to not let that dictate or bump me down into believing something less. You understand what I'm saying? Because it's real easy to watch the political stuff and get wrapped up in that about, oh, I'm moving to Canada. Why? Why affirm that? Because what you're doing is you're throwing your hands up and saying that my mind has no effect in creating what I desire. So when something happens and you're not liking the physical expression of it, why not speak truth into it? People have asked me many times about, my whole concept about ISIS and stuff. Because if God is all there is, if God is a circle whose circumference is nowhere and whose center is everywhere, there is nowhere that God is not. There is nothing that is not it. So that means they have to be just as divine as we are. But why would they do what they're doing? For the same reason that a child tries to stick a fork into a light socket. They don't know any better. So what do? Know the truth for them. Every time I hear something, every time I see something, and I sense or see discord, it is my job to bring harmony back to it. Before I ask you, how many of you have had experienced something in your life where it's like, right? And we all raise our hands, right? Quick question. The gentleman who sits here plays what? What are these? What is this? And what is that? Okay. How many vocalists are out here? Okay. Question number one. What do all of those have in common? Some form of music. But check this out. The guitar, strings have to be hit, strummed, plucked. The keys have to be hit in order for the strings to vibrate. And even the keyboard, while there are no strings, you still have to put pressure on the key in order for it to play. Vocalists, do you not have to push air through your into your diaphragm, through your vocal cords, so your vocal cords vibrate for sound to come out? Pressure, right? All of these take pressure to make music. Why do we avoid the pressure in our lives, not realizing that the very thing we are trying to avoid is the thing that makes music come through us? Embrace it and realize If it's happening for a reason. Now what do I choose from this experience? I can't change it. Not on the surface, I can't change it. But where can I change it? In mind, in consciousness, through love in expression. And then it greatly increases the likelihood that the physical manifestation of it will change to match the internal. In Hermetics, they say, as above, so below, as within, so without. If you want to know what you're thinking, what your consciousness is marinating on, look around you. Look at your friends that you socialize with. Look at your apartment, look at your clothes, look at your house, look at your employment. Look at this. It's an outward manifestation of what's going on in your mind, what's going on in your consciousness. If there's something you don't like, which many times we don't, that's fine. Don't curse it. It is not a thing to point the finger and say, man, I created. No. Because once again, there is this thing called mass consciousness. And sometimes because of it, things happen to us, through us. But we always have the choice of what do I do with it. Always. There are ingredients, flour, sugar, and stuff. From those ingredients, can I cook one thing? From those ingredients, I can cook thousands and thousands of things. Any scientists in the room? Or aspiring scientists? People that hate science? Somebody that's science? Got a family member that likes science? Thank you. Like Bill Nye, the science guy, something. Come on now. Okay. You ever heard of this thing called the periodic chart? Everything in physical manifestation comes from the correct mixture of those ingredients. In our life, we have the opportunity to, for lack of a better word, bend our physical experience. Think that's not possible? Let's have a conversation. Because one of the things that we're going to talk about for those who come to my workshop this afternoon, we're going to talk about how do you start from where you are.